today we'll start in child's pose on our mat. And if you have a block, that would be nice for today's practice. It's not necessary, but something like it would be good. So come to your mat, hands and knees, big toes together. If it's comfortable to bring the knees and the feet all the way together for this type of child's pose, do that. If you need to separate the knees, that's fine too. Forehead comes down. Arms back behind you might be nice as well. You can always bring the arms out in front of you, but if this feels okay, knees and feet together, arms back behind you, forehead down. So you are curling up in a pretty tight ball, but there's a rounding of the upper back that opens up the shoulders in a different way than when we have the arms forward. You can kind of rock side to side a little bit in this child's pose until you find center, a place that brings you comfort. Eyes can be opened or closed, but start to deepen the breath. And in this shape, as you begin to deepen the breath, you'll feel the back move. So see how much space you can make in the back with each breath. Keep the hips going back toward the heels. And then you can start to walk the arms forward if they're not there already. Far enough forward so that the forearms are lifted away from the mat, elbows are off the mat. The whole entire hand is on the mat. And you're pressing down into the hands enough so that you can feel the arms, especially the triceps squeeze together, those outer upper arms. And we'll start to walk the hands in. Grab a block if you have one as you come back up. And we're going to take Virasana today to start. So you'll come to hands and knees. Knees stay all the way together, but the feet need to separate so that when you sit back, the hips can fit between the feet. You'll take the block. Lowest height, you could do medium height. You could even do the tallest height. Put that between the ankles. And then you can squeeze the block as long as there's enough room for the hips. Before you come back, take the hands and move the calf muscle out. So there's plenty of room for the knees as you sit back onto the block. And then you can let the calves go. Those will stay out. Hands come to the thighs. And then look at the feet. Make sure the tops of the feet are on the ground, toes going straight back. Those outer ankles are hugging in. So they're not relaxed and rolling out. You're hugging them in, and those inner thighs are rolling down toward the mat. So there's an internal rotation of the hips. And then you hug the belly in, chest is open, nice and wide. Reach that right arm forward and all the way up. Bend at the elbow and grab the elbow with the left hand, pull it up. You're just getting into that right shoulder to start. If you feel like you're puffing out the chest a lot, hug those lowest front ribs in and look straight forward. So sometimes the head and the chin want to go down toward the mat. Keep them forward. Then bring this left arm out to the side, thumb side down. Left arm goes behind the back. It's early. So we're taking Gomukhasana arms, but the hands don't really need to touch. Just get a nice opening in the right shoulder and the left shoulder. That left elbow is going down and back, right elbow up, and outer upper arm in toward the ear. Pressing down into the hips to sit up a little bit taller. Keep squeezing those ankles in toward the midline as you press down into the feet, the shins. And then gently release the arms down by the sides. Feel that space. So one side should feel a little different than the other side. Left arm reaches forward all the way up. Bend the arm, reach for the upper back, and then take this right hand, grab the elbow. See if that helps you get that shoulder into place as you stretch things. And if the chest puffed out, hug it in, hug the belly and still sitting up tall, look forward, breathe. Right arm comes out to the side, thumb side down. Reach that right arm behind the back, bend the elbow, hands come toward one another, go Mukasana arms. Don't focus so much on where the hands end up, focus more on the shoulders and where that opening happens in both shoulders, taking it easy to start. Then let the arms go down by the sides. Notice how the shoulders feel. You can take some shoulder rolls, bring the shoulders up toward the ears, down the back, and do that a couple more times in the same direction. Opening them up, getting them ready for your practice. And the next time the shoulders are down the back, go the other way. So bring the shoulders up toward the ears, forward, down, and back. 2 more times with that. Trying to just isolate the shoulders as you make these circles. And then from here, we'll come to hands and knees. You can remove the block, set it off to the side. Hands underneath the shoulders, step the feet back, come into a plank pose. And really, this plank pose is to stretch out the legs. So they've been bent, you've been putting weight on them. Think about stretching out through the heels, hugging the core in. You're still pushing the mat away from you. This also might feel nice with the shoulders a little bit more open than they typically would be at this point in your practice. And there's a squeezing in of the triceps even here. Chest is reaching forward. Breathe where you are. So you can get a little bit more stretch in the legs, making them a little longer. Then bring the knees down to the mat, all the way down to the mat. So you're lying down onto your stomach, tops of the feet come to the mat, reach the arms back behind you, palms face one another, press into the tops of the feet, lift the heart up, Shalambhasana. Then exhale, release. Bring the left forearm in front of the face. Still reaching back with that right arm. Bend the right leg, grab the foot. And you're bringing that foot in pretty close, as close as you can get it to the glutes. Keep the right knee pointing straight back. So if it feels like it's going out to the right, line it up so it's right next to the left knee. And then let that go. Switch sides, right forearm in front of the face, reach back, grab for the left foot, bring that foot in toward the hips. Gently let it go. Press into the tops of the feet. Both arms reach back, right back to where we started, Shalambhasana. Reach the heart up. Keep the belly hugging in a little bit so it's not pressing into the mat. Chest is nice and wide, legs are strong, and you're reaching back with those fingertips as much as you can. Keep the length in the lower back, and then exhale, release. This time, let's bring the hands by the lower ribs. We're taking Cobra, but start with the forehead down on the mat. Bring those shoulders back, hug those outer elbows in, and then lift up for Cobra. Maybe you come up a little bit higher. You've already done a couple of back bends, wherever the Cobra feels good for you. And then exhale, release, come up to hands and knees, take cat. So round the back, you might need to walk the hands in until they're underneath the shoulders. So you're rounding the back. On an inhale, come forward, cow pose. And then keep going with your own breath a few times. Inhale forward one more time. Come back to a neutral spine. Step the right toes back behind you. Spin that right heel down flat. Left hand underneath the left shoulder. You can move it out to the left if you want to. You can even kick this left foot out to the left if you want to. Reach the right arm up. So you're coming into a modified version of side plank. Left shoulder's in place. So sometimes it wants to roll forward toward the top of the mat or toward the ear. Make sure it's in place. And as you reach up with the right arm, you're opening up the right side chest. Get some energy into that right foot. Maybe you hover the right foot up to shoulder or to hip height. Toes point straight forward toward the side. So not up toward the sky. And then point the toes. So they're pointing toward the back of the mat. Bend that right leg, bringing the heel in close to the glute. Reach back. See if you can grab the foot. If you can, great. If you can't, just come back to where we were with the right leg reaching back and the right arm reaching up. And if you have the foot, get a quad stretch. So lengthen the quad, press the foot into the hand, keep reaching the heart forward, left hip still hugging in underneath you. Gently release that right foot, right arm reaches back up. Press out through the right foot, lift up with the right arm, bring the right hand down to the mat, right knee down to the mat, and we'll switch sides. So left foot steps back behind you, spin that left heel down. Maybe the right hand comes out to the right. Maybe you kick the right foot out. Left arm reaches up. Start here, hug that outer right hip in and underneath you, right shoulder down the back, left arm reaches up as you open the chest. Then start to engage that left foot, left leg, lift the left leg up to hip height, pressing out through the heel. Start to point the toes that the foot is lifted, pointing the left toes back toward the mat. And then bend the knee, bring the heel in, reach back, see if the foot's there. Once you have the foot, reach the heart forward, get some length without arching the back. Gently release the foot if you have it. Reach the left arm up, press out through the left heel. Slow and controlled, left hand comes back down to the mat, level off the hips, set the left knee down. You're back in tabletop. Hands reach forward ahead of the shoulders, tuck the toes, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So here in your downward facing dog, you can have it bend in the legs, although your legs probably want to stretch a little bit. So let the heels come down toward the mat. Press down into the hands, especially the fingertips. And it's like you're trying to move the forearms away from the mat. So you should feel some heat in the tops of the forearms. And then squeeze those triceps in, outer upper arms, and widen across the shoulder blades. Lowest front ribs hug in, belly hugs in, hips go up and back as much as you can. And the backs of the thighs broaden, so they widen. Heels are trying to reach the mat. Inhale, glide forward to plank pose. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Inhale, glide forward to plank pose, lower down halfway, chaturanga, back up to plank pose, downward facing dog. Maybe one more of those. You can stand downward facing dog if you want to. Inhale forward to plank pose, lower down halfway, chaturanga, back up plank pose, downward facing dog. Right foot steps forward to the top of the mat, back knee down. Coming into a low lunge, keep those back toes tucked, reach the arms up. Then cactus the arms. Elbows come down by the waist as you lift the heart up. Inhale, reach back up. Left hand comes down, right arm reaches up. So this time we're coming into a twist. And this left knee, we want it way back. So with the toes tucked, if you can shift that left knee back even more, try it. So that the left knee is behind the left hip, not right underneath it. And then you can reach back with that right arm, opening up the chest. Maybe the left foot comes in toward the body. You reach and see if the foot's there. It's early, not a big deal if it's not there. If you can't grab it, just release it, right hand to the hip, and you're good here. Otherwise, bring that in.
Let the foot go if you have it. We'll all bring the right hand down to the mat. Back toes are tucked. Lift that back knee. You're in a long lunge. Reach the heart forward. Hips go back. Left heel goes back. Then hands down, back to downward facing dog. Other side. Left foot steps forward. Right knee down. Reach the arms up. Exhale, cactus the arms. Lift the chest. Maybe the gaze goes up. Inhale, reach back up. Right hand comes down, left arm reaches up. Find that twist. Then reach back with the left arm. Shift that right knee back as far as you can get it. The hips will go lower. Then maybe the right foot comes in, you grab it, or maybe right hand or left hand, left hip. Let the foot go if you have it. Hands come down to the mat, tuck the back toes, lift the back leg. What's nice about this is you have a long stride in this lunge, so it's a different opening. And then plant the hands, step back, downward facing dog. Then bend the knees, look forward, tiptoe the feet forward. So take lots of steps. See if you can keep the legs straight as you walk them forward, slowly making your way into a forward fold. And as you get closer to the hands, the belly has to lift the hips up, coming into your Uttanasana. Let the head and the neck go. Inhale up halfway. Hands can come up the sides of the legs. Exhale, fold. 2 more of those. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Last one. We're holding this one. Inhale up halfway. Press down into the legs. Reach the heart forward. Back of the neck gets long, so you're looking down the bridge of the nose. Chest is nice and wide. Backs of the thighs are broadening. And fold forward all the way down over the legs. This time, inhale, circle the arms all the way up. Bring the palms together overhead and down in front of the heart. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step back to plank pose. Lower down halfway, chaturanga, up dog or cobra. Exhale, back, down dog. Bend the knees, look forward, step the feet forward, up between the hands. Forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Bring the hands together overhead and down in front of the heart. On an inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down, back to plank pose. Lower down halfway to chaturanga. Inhale up, open up across the chest, shoulders down the back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, lift the hips high, hop or step the feet forward. Just be light. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. All the way up on the inhale. Hands together at the very top, down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down, back to plank. Lower down on the exhale, chaturanga. Inhale up for your back bend. Exhale back downward facing dog. Right foot steps forward, up between the hands. Widen the feet so you have hip width distance apart. Rise up to crescent pose. Take your time. In your crescent pose, bend the back knee, cactus the arms, lift the chest. So just like we were doing when the knee was down, but it's still lifted. And then inhale back up, straighten the back leg, reach the arms up. 2 more of those. Exhale, bend the back knee, cactus the arms. Inhale, reach back up. Last one, exhale. Inhale, reach back up. Bring the hands down to the mat. Hop that back foot in so you can bring the whole sole of the foot down. Those left toes are pointing at 11 o'clock. Both legs are straight. Square the hips. So we're coming into Parsvottanasana. That right hip goes back, left hip goes forward. Come up halfway. You can use the fingertips. Keep this length in the spine as you start to fold over the right leg. Head and neck are last to fold in. So the legs are straight. They're also engaged. They're strong. So you're pressing down into the feet. You're scissoring those inner thighs. Spine is long. Lunge that right leg forward, step the left foot back, step back to plank pose, vinyasa if you want it, or straight back to downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward, up between the hands. Find that lunge and take it up to crescent pose. On the exhale, cactus the arms, lower the back knee, look up. Inhale, reach up, straighten everything. Exhale, bend the back knee, cactus the arms. Inhale, straighten the back leg, reach up. Last one, exhale. Inhale, reach up to crescent. Bring the hands down to the mat. Hop the back foot in, straightening the legs. Turn those toes out toward 1 o'clock. Feet are on separate train tracks, so you might need to bring them in a little closer if you had a wider stance for your crescent. Then come up halfway. Shift that left hip back as the right hip comes forward, trying to get them side by side. Then get as much length as you can in the spine. Keep that as you start to fold over the left leg. Hands can walk back for less intensity, forward for more intensity. Look forward, bend the left knee, step back to your lunge, back to a vinyasa, down dog. Stay with the breath with whatever you choose. Customizing your practice for what you need out of it today. Bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Chair pose on the inhale. Bend the knees, reaching the arms up. Utkatasana. All the way up to standing. Hands come together down in front of the heart. Inhale, sit back, chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down, step back to plank pose. Lower down halfway, chaturanga. Inhale up for your back bend. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Right foot steps forward to the top of the mat. Setting up for warrior one. Hop that back foot in, reach the arms forward and up. Plenty of time in this warrior one. So fine tune it, make those adjustments as you square things forward and anchor down into that back leg. Find the lunge in the front leg, start to reach up. Maybe you start to look up and add a little bit of a back bend. Then begin to look forward if you change the gaze. Reach the arms back, interlace the fingers behind the back. Humble warrior. Take your time. If you're taking it easy today, rest the torso on that front thigh. If you want more, bring the left side or the right side of the torso inside of the right thigh. Release the clasp of the hands. Come up to warrior one. And exhale. Hands come down to the mat with or without the vinyasa. Make your way back, downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward, right heel down, warrior one. Take your time, rise up when you're ready. Start to find the pose on this side of the body. Square things forward, anchor down through that back leg, send the left knee forward. Hug the belly in and start to find that back bend wherever it is on this side. Maybe the gaze comes up. Gaze comes back forward, reach the arms back behind you, interlace the fingers the other way, folding forward, humble warrior. So we're trying to get those heels of the hands together, little bend in the elbows, one that you can feel, but probably not see. Keep that left hip from swinging out to the left. Release the hands with control, rise back up, warrior one. And exhale, hands to the mat any way you want, back to downward facing dog. A few breaths in your downward facing dog. Open up the backs of the legs. Then bend the knees, look forward, feet forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Back to chair pose. Inhale into it. Stay here for a couple of breaths. All the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. Inhale, sit back, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down, step back, down dog, vinyasa. Up to you. Right foot steps forward, warrior one. Come up on the inhale. Interlace the fingers back behind you. Humble warrior. Heels of the hands together as you fold forward. Inhale, back up, warrior one. Hands down on the exhale, make your way back, downward facing dog. Left foot forward, warrior one. Interlace the fingers, one finger over, humble warrior. Back up, warrior one. Hands down to the mat, make your way back, downward facing dog. A few breaths in downward facing dog. Then bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Chair pose. All the way up to standing, hands come together down in front of the heart. So come to Tadasana, arms come down by the sides, press down into both feet, both legs, lifting the lower belly, keeping the chest wide, and finding something to focus on that's eye level, that's not going to move straight in front of you. Keep that. Start to shift the weight over to the right foot. Hover the left foot away from the mat, just like an inch. And then start to move that left leg back behind you so that you can point the toes back without touching the mat. Keep the left hip pointing forward. Reach the right arm up. Bend the left leg, bring the heel in close to the glute, reach back, grab for that left foot. So now we're standing with the knees side by side. So you're standing tall, reaching up with the right side. Start to stay looking forward, start to reach forward with the right arm and kick that left foot into the left hand, stretching the quad and keeping an internal rotation of the hip. So that left inner thigh is engaged. So is the right inner thigh. Maybe the foot lifts up a little bit higher. You'll have another opportunity to come into this. So maybe just start with an introduction into dancer's pose on this side. Stay looking forward. Try not to dip the chest too much. It stays lifted. Slowly make your way back up to standing when the left knee is next to the right knee. Then we'll extend that leg forward, the left leg. So reach that left arm up, extend the left leg forward, press out through that left heel to stretch the back side of the leg. And then we're taking it to crescent pose. Take your time, reach that left foot back and the arms up. Then cactus the arms, bend the back knee, look up, inhale, crescent pose. Exhale, bend it. Inhale, straighten it back up, crescent pose. This time, exhale. Inhale, back up, crescent pose. Straighten the front leg so both legs are straight. Turn the toes over to the left so you're facing the side of the mat. Bring the hands to the waist, fold forward halfway, bring the hands down in front of the shoulders. Turn the fingertips to point behind you and start to walk the hands back, probably behind the legs. Maybe the head comes down to the mat. So keep the legs engaged here. We're trying to get a nice stretch. Hug those outer ankles in, lift the kneecaps, outer hips hug in. And slowly start to walk the hands forward so they're underneath the shoulders. Bend the knees, hands to the hips. Press yourself up to standing. Angle in the left toes, turn the right toes out. Warrior two. Spread the arms out wide. Root down through the legs. Flip that front palm. Reverse warrior. And then extended side angle, forearm to thigh, reach the left arm up and over. Shoulders are pretty open, so are the hips. You could bring that right hand down inside the foot as you reach up and over with the left arm. Hands come down to the mat. You're coming onto the ball of the back foot. Widen that right foot out to the right. Step the left foot forward, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold back to chair pose. All the way up to standing, hands come together down in front of the heart. Tadasana, mountain pose, arms down by the sides, feet hip width distance apart. Maybe you move right to left a little bit, just playing with your balance to find center. So once you find center, you'll feel the feet root down the legs, the lower body, the upper body. Find that focal point in front of you. Start to shift the weight over to the left foot. Hover the right foot. So it's like you're sucking that femur bone up into the hip. And then start to move that right leg back behind you enough so that you can point the toes without touching the mat. Left arm reaches up. Left leg or right leg's engaged. Bend the right leg, reach back, grab for the right foot. Keep reaching up. Here's where you can bring the knees side by side to start. Hips stay forward. You can start to reach forward with that left arm, kick back with the right foot, and you're just coming forward like halfway. The right foot can lift, but try not to open up the hip. Stay looking forward. Slowly start to make your way back up to standing, right to where we started, knees side by side. Right leg's gonna kick forward, extending it. Right arm reaches up. Press out through that right heel. Crescent pose. Bend the right knee. Take a big step back to your crescent pose. Feet hip width distance apart. On the exhale, cactus the arms, bend the back knee. Inhale, back up, crescent. Exhale. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, lower. Inhale, back up, crescent. Straighten the front leg. Keep reaching up. Turn the toes over to the right. Hands to the hips. Toes point forward or maybe a little bit in. Fold forward halfway. Then bring the hands down in front of you. This time, grab the outer legs or ankles as you fold forward. Head can come down. Legs are still strong. Try not to relax them. Steady breath. So you come back to your regular ujjayi and see if you can hang on to it. Bring the hands in front of the shoulders, lifting yourself up halfway. Bend the legs, hands to the hips, all the way up to standing. Right toes turn in, left toes turn out. Warrior two facing the top of the mat. Keep the legs, flip the front palm, reverse warrior. Extended side angle, forearm to thigh, or bring the hand down. Hands come down to the mat. You come onto the ball of the back foot, widen the stance a little bit. Step that right foot forward to meet the left foot. Forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down, back to plank pose, optional vinyasa on the way to down dog. Few breaths in your downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. In this forward fold, interlace the fingers behind the back and let the knuckles fall back behind the head. Keep the legs straight, let the head and the neck go. Pull the shoulders away from the ears as you send the knuckles back. Bend the right knee, open the chest to the left. Back to center, bend the left knee, open the chest to the right, so away from the bent leg. Back to center, hands come down to the mat, inhale to chair pose. all the way up to standing. Hands come together down in front of the heart. Tadasana, mountain pose. Find that focal point. Last time with that flow. Start to shift the weight over to the right foot. Hover the left foot away from the mat. Start to extend that left leg back behind you, then point the toes. Reach the right arm up, bend that left leg, grab for the left foot. Knees side by side. Now you can keep the hand on the outside of the foot. If the shoulder's open enough, you could bring it to the inside of the foot. So play with which side you want the grip. You know where we're going. Maybe you take a mudra with that top hand. You can bring the index finger and thumb together. You could even do a peace sign if you want something more familiar. Start to bend forward, hinge forward. Hug the belly in, reach the heart forward. Left leg goes up and back without opening up the left hip. Stay looking forward and then keep reaching forward as you lift that left leg up and back. Breathe into it. Back up to standing. Take your time. Stay with this focus and concentration as you rise back up, eventually getting the left knee next to the right. Extend that left leg forward, reach both arms up, kick out through the left heel, bend that left leg, step back to crescent pose. Take your time. Then exhale, lower, cactus the arms. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, reach back up, straighten the front leg, keep reaching up, turn the toes over to the left. Bring the hands to the hips, fold forward halfway, bring the hands down in front of the shoulders. This time we're taking a wide-legged down dog. So instead of walking the hands back, walk the hands forward, just like downward facing dog. Keep the legs wide. Head between the arms. Breathe here. This should feel pretty nice on the whole spine and the backs of the legs. Start to walk the hands back in underneath the shoulders. Put a bend in the legs as you bring the hands to the hips, rising up to standing. Left toes angle in, right toes turn out. Warrior two facing the top of the mat. Flip the front palm, reverse warrior. Extended side angle, wherever you want that front arm. Hands come down to the mat, come onto the ball of the back foot. Step that left foot forward to meet the right foot. Inhale up halfway, get long in the legs, find a little stretch, then exhale, fold. Chair pose on the inhale. All the way up to standing on the exhale. Hands together, down in front of the heart. Tadasana, mountain pose. Start to shift the weight over to the left foot. Hover the right foot. Extend that right leg back, point the toes, lift the left arm. Bend that right leg, grab for the foot. Knees side by side. Keep the grip on the outside of the foot, or maybe you play with the inside. If there's not enough room in the shoulders, switch it back. Find a mudra with that top hand, maybe index finger to thumb, or the peace sign. Start to hinge forward, nice and slow. Keep pressing the foot into the hand back into the foot as you reach forward. Belly hugs in, back is long, even though you're arching the spine. That left inner thigh is so strong, as well as the right inner thigh. Slowly make your way back up to standing. You could put a little bend in the standing leg for more stability. Once you come back up to standing, extend the right leg forward, reach the arms up, crescent pose, bend the right leg, step back. On your next exhale, cactus the arms, lower the back leg. Inhale, reach up, crescent. Exhale, lower. Inhale, reach up, crescent. Exhale, lower. Inhale, reach up. Last time, exhale. This time, inhale, reach up straight in the front leg. Turn the toes over to the right. Hands to the hips. Fold forward halfway. Hands down in front of the shoulders. Wide-legged down dog. Walk the hands forward. Keep the legs wide. Let the head and the neck go. Legs still engaged. Hands start to walk back in underneath the shoulders. Put a bend in the knees, hands to the hips, rise up to standing, angle in the right toes, turn the left toes all the way out. Warrior two facing the top of the mat. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Hands down to the mat, come onto the ball of the back foot. Step that right foot forward to meet the left foot. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step back to plank pose. Last vinyasa if you want one. Back to downward facing dog. Once you get to downward facing dog, come to hands and knees, and then fold the back of the mat in. So you're doubling up a layer, unless you're on carpet. If you're on carpet, don't even bother. You're probably fine. But if you're not on carpet and you're on a hard surface, double up the mat. Come back to hands and knees so that your knees are on the padded side of the mat. Bring the hands up to the hips. So you're standing on the knees. Toes are tucked to start. Bring the hands to the lower back. You can have the fingertips pointing down or up, depending on what's going on with the wrist. This up definitely requires a lot more opening in the wrists and the forearms. Press down into the legs, squeeze those inner thighs together, lift the lower belly, start to lift the heart. See if you can keep the hips over the knees, elbows back as you come into this Ustrasana camel pose, leaving the hands right where they are. Maybe you start to look up. If that's scary, just stay looking forward. You're still getting a deep back bend either way. Breathe wherever you are. Keep that engagement in the legs. Slowly start to make your way back up and sit back onto the feet. You can untuck the toes. Let the hands rest on the thighs. Close the eyes. Feel that back bend do its magic. And we'll come back into it. Shift back to standing onto the knees. Knees are hip width distance apart, so you don't want them all the way together. Bring the hands to the lower back, fingertips down or up. Find that engagement in the legs so you have a nice strong foundation. Lift the lower belly, lift the heart, start to reach up and back with the gaze. Maybe you stay here. If the toes are tucked, maybe you play with reaching back for the heels, unless you know you can grab the heels without the toes being tucked, but we'll just take it slow. Keep the hips over the knees. Open up the front side of the body as you contract the back side. If you have the hands to the feet, one hand at a time, come back up and sit back onto the heels. Untuck the toes. You can bring the legs together, just coming to kneeling, closing the eyes. Then you'll blink open the eyes. If you folded up the mat, take a moment to unfold it. Come to seated on your mat, legs extended out in front of you. Bring this right foot in pretty close, and then step the right foot over the left leg. Right fingertips come back behind you, sitting up nice and tall. Start to open the chest to the right. You can hook the elbow outside of the right thigh, but go more for length and height in the spine than the twist. So on the inhale, sit up as tall as you can. Make sure you can feel both sit bones rooting down and those left toes pointing up. And then start to look behind you. Bring the gaze back forward. Slowly unwind the torso. You'll take this right ankle and move it out to the side. Maybe you stay like this with the bottom leg extended out in front of you, or play and see if you can bend this bottom leg and bring it in. You just want to make sure that you can still sit on both hips. If that right hip is way lifted or if it's bothering the knees at all, you just extend that left leg back out in front of you. So see which one's feeling better. Sit onto both hips wherever you are. Reach the arms all the way up and come forward. Only come forward if you feel like there's enough space and you're willing to take this a little deeper. If you're good staying upright, you stay there. And as you fold in, close the eyes. Maybe the chin hooks over the front knee, the top knee. Start to bring yourself back up, torso upright, hands by the sides. If you have the bottom leg extended or bent, extended out in front of you, and then the right leg. Left foot comes in, you can use the hands. Sitting up tall, step this left foot over the right leg. Reach back with the left fingertips, sitting up tall, facing forward, and then bringing that elbow outside of the thigh and coming into your twist. Right toes stay up, open the chest to the left, gaze over the left shoulder. Sit up a little taller on the inhale, twist on the exhale. Start to bring the gaze back forward first. Unwind the torso. Maybe play with bending the right leg in as you bring the left ankle out to the right. If it's not working, right leg goes back out in front of you. Sitting up nice and tall on the inhale, stay here if you're getting enough of a stretch. Otherwise, reach the arms up, fold forward on the exhale. See where the hip opening is on this side. Start to walk the hands back in toward the body if you folded forward, sitting up tall. Extend that bottom leg first, then the top leg. Keep the legs extended, reach the arms up, fold forward over the legs, seated forward fold. Then come back up to seated and choose if you want to do a seated meditation or lie all the way down onto your back for Shavasana. If you have something to cover the eyes, go for it, or any props to make it more comfortable, do that. Wherever you are, come right into stillness. Start to breathe in a little bit deeper. If you're in Shavasana, wiggle the fingers and the toes. Stretch the arms overhead, waking up again. Make your way onto your right side, cradling the head and the arm. Use the hands to bring yourself up to an easy cross-legged seat, sitting up nice and tall. Bring the hands together in front of you. Keep the chest lifted as you bow the head to honor and acknowledge your heart and spirit, as well as everyone around you, near and far. Bring the head back up, blink open the eyes. Namaste. Thanks for sharing your practice today and joining. I appreciate it. Hope you got what you needed out of it, and a great rest of your day.